Arranging a bunch of images in an image gallery can seem like a daunting task. However, by using HTML and CSS, it's actually pretty simple. Here we have our images directory, and we have a shot of Big Ben, we have City Hall, and we have several other shots around London, and as you can see, they're all sized to be exactly the same so that they'll fit together very nicely in an image gallery. Currently, our web root is blank, but that's all about to change. So let's go ahead and switch over to TextMate. And as you can see, we just have a very basic HTML page. We've already included our CSS document so that when we start writing CSS, it will already be on our page. And the first thing we're going to do is create a wrapper div. So I'll just go ahead and create a div here with the ID of wrapper. And this will just help us to center everything on the page. So I'll go ahead and make some room for us to work here. And inside of a wrapper div, we're going to go ahead and create an unordered list. Just like that. And we'll create a few list items here. And inside of each list item, we're going to create an image. So we'll use the image tag. And the source for this, in our case, will be in the images directory. And our first image is called bigben.jpg. And I'll give it some alternate text. And we'll just say Big Ben. And then we'll go ahead and close our image tag. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste a few times here. And we have 8 images. So we'll just go ahead and copy those and paste them there. And now we just need to quickly rename these. So we have Big Ben. We have City Hall. We have the London Eye, of course. There's Parliament. We have St. Paul's. We have one of the towers on Tower Bridge. So for our alt text, we'll just say something like Tower of Tower Bridge. And then we have a proper picture of Tower Bridge. So we'll say Tower Bridge for our alt text. And then finally we have a picture of one of the signs for the London Underground. And we'll just say Underground sign. So we'll go ahead and save that out. And just for a quick sanity check, we'll switch over to the browser and refresh. And as you can see, we now have all of our images right here in the browser. And they're in the form of an unordered list, so they have these bullet points next to them. But we'll go ahead and get rid of those when we format them into an image gallery. So let's go ahead and switch back over to TextMate, and let's open our CSS document. The first thing we want to do is remove any kind of margin that might be on the body of the document. We could do more elaborate reset CSS, but this will do for now. Next, we'll go ahead and select our wrapper. We'll set the width to about 960 pixels, and we'll set the margin to 0 for the top and bottom, and auto for the left and right to center it on the page. Go ahead and switch back to Google Chrome and refresh. And while this column of images doesn't appear to be in the center of the page, all the content is indeed centered overall. We'll go ahead and format these into an image gallery in just a moment. So let's go ahead and switch over to TextMate. And we need to apply a class or an ID to our unordered list so that we can go ahead and select it amongst possibly other unordered lists on the page. So we'll go ahead and give it the ID of gallery. And we'll switch back to our CSS document, and we'll go ahead and select our gallery. And the first thing we want to do is remove any kind of list styling, because remember, our gallery is the unordered list element. So we'll go ahead and say list style none, and that will remove those bullet points. And we'll go ahead and move this list down from the top by about 100 pixels, just using some margin. So let's go ahead and switch back to Google Chrome and refresh. And as you can see, we've moved it away from the top just to give it some nice spacing there, and we've gotten rid of our bullet points on our unordered list. So let's go ahead and continue here. The next thing we want to do is style our list elements. So first, we'll go ahead and float them to the left, and this is really the trick of this gallery. When you float something to the left or right, you allow other content to flow around it. But because we're floating everything to the left or to the right, all the content is flowing around each other. So really, it just appears as though the content is next to one another, or that each picture in the gallery is next to one another. Next, we'll go ahead and give each picture a margin of 5 pixels to give them some separation amongst one another, and we'll give them some padding of 5 pixels as well. Now, when we go back to Google Chrome and refresh the page, you can see that all of our images are in this really nice gallery. Now, we can do a couple of different things here. We could, for example, go ahead and swing this gallery in a couple of different directions. We can do this using CSS3 selectors. So first, we'll go ahead and select our gallery. Then we'll select each list item, and then we'll say nth child, and we'll say odd, and we'll say clear both. So every other image will actually clear the line that it's being floated on. So if we go back to Google Chrome and refresh, you can see that we now have more of a vertical gallery where there's only 2 columns and 4 rows. So let's go ahead and undo this. And one neat effect that we can do is sort of rotate each one of our images. So first, we'll go ahead and select the first child, and then we'll select the 5th child. And we'll only do this for WebKit, but you could of course apply other vendor prefixes and make this work for Firefox or Opera or really any other browser that supports this. So we'll say WebKit transform, and we'll rotate the first image and the 5th image by 2 degrees. So let's go ahead and save that, switch back to Google Chrome, and refresh. And as you can see, our first image and our 5th image are rotated. So let's go ahead and do this for all of these to sort of make a more Polaroid or collage look to this gallery. So we'll go ahead and copy these and paste them a few times so that we can apply this to pretty much every image in our gallery. And first, we'll go ahead and just change these selectors. So I'll select the 2nd and 6th child, the 3rd and 7th child, and the 4th and 8th child. Then we'll just go ahead and adjust these rotations a little bit so it looks more random. So for this first one, we'll say -2 degrees. This one will say +1 degree, and this one will say something like +3 degrees. So we'll go ahead and save that, and we can switch back to Google Chrome and refresh the page. And as you can see, we have sort of a more random looking image gallery. Creating an image gallery is a lot like creating horizontal navigation. You simply float all of the elements and then let them flow around each other.